Hey guys, welcome back. It's good to see you. We've been gone for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to try to answer some questions, and we're going to discuss spirituality as a prep and your relationship with the Most High. And I really am not going to give you all the answers, but I'm going to give you those for me. So stay with me. So, in a past episode, we were asked to discuss the power of positivity, and we talked about moving forward after everything implodes in your life, after a divorce. How do you do it? And the answer I've given in the past was I don't know. I had to have faith in a higher power. And that's true. Um, and someone asked, I believe it was in an email, well, what exactly do you believe? You say you're a Torah keeper, but you're not always wearing the tassels on your um, pants. You say you're a Torah keeper, but we don't really understand all of that. To be honest, I'm still learning, and that would be ruckus. I'm still learning. I grew up Seventh day Adventist. Seventh day Adventism is a Protestant religion that keeps Saturday as the Sabbath and is probably the closest to Messianic Judaism that I have seen out there. Yeah, if you're watching, just watch for the cat. It's very Old Testament based, very apocalyptic in its beliefs, very the end times are coming, apocryphal, not apocryphal, apocalyptic would be the word. And I balance that base with trying to follow the Torah, the Old Testament books given to Moses by God, the knowledge of from given to Moses. Pretty much what I try to do is if it says, and Yahweh said to Moses, do X, do X. The one of the most important things to me in doing is to keep the Sabbath, Friday sundown through Sabbath sundown. I don't buy anything. I don't sell anything. I dedicate that day to Him, to communion with the Father, the Son, to prayer, and that is my day of rest. That is my day of peace. And that is a non-negotiable. In a past relationship, that became a point of contention because I would not work around the house on projects. I would not go shopping. I would not go to auctions. I would not do those things And I'll be honest, I had walked away from my beliefs that I had grown up with. And because I started to go back to those beliefs, the relationship soured and we ended up parting ways. Why is the Sabbath so important to me? Is it because I need a day of rest at the end of a 45-hour week? 50-hour week sometimes? Yeah. Um, at the end of the week, I'm dead. Um, I don't know if I picked up a bacteria the last couple of weeks. The reason why there weren't videos the last 2 weekends was I ended up with vertigo so badly that while working overtime on a Friday at 7:30 in the morning, I made my way to the restroom and emptied my stomach. Um, and I mean, I was doing my best to work, and as long as I was right here in front of me, I was fine. But the whole world was doing this number, and it looked like some of the bad special effects from an 80s movie. Having the Sabbath helped me recover. It didn't fix it, but being able to put some tea tree oil in my ears, tried to draw off some of the fluid, being able to actually sleep more than 7 hours helped. Over the Memorial Day weekend, I managed to sleep, I think, that'd be ruckus hitting the tripod. I think I managed to sleep in one day about 18 hours, and suddenly I'm starting to feel better. But it's more than just having a day off, a day completely void of what some would call work. Um, TJ, Bear Independent, once told me for a carpenter, gardening is not work, but for a farmer, it might be. And for that farmer, carpentry may not be work. I do things that bring me closer to the Father. And to be honest, it was Sabbath that pushed me over the edge to propose to Miss K. We were working our way there, slowly but surely. And the manager of the facility that we worked at decided to mandatory a Saturday overtime after mandatorying a Friday as well. He wanted about 60 hours, 50, 60 hours in a week, and it wasn't happening. It just, I wasn't going to do it. And Miss K at the time had been keeping Sabbath with me. We had moved into that. We had discussed religious beliefs. And I had been asking God for a sign, hey, if this is the one, it seems to be. She's on board with prepping. She's on board with natural remedies. She's on board with animals. Hey, Ruckus. Mwah. She's on board with these things. And I said, God, give me a clear sign. And she did. And it wasn't what I expected. When the plant manager mandatory that Saturday, I went in to HR immediately and said, hey, that from the day I hired on, I don't work Saturdays. And they said yes. And I said, well, there is something you need to know. Miss Kay and I have been dating, and she's keeping the Sabbath too. You might want to be aware. And they said, okay. Well, what I what I left out is Kay and I had looked at each other, and I just kind of said, I've got to make sure I'm clear. And she said, well, we keep the Sabbath. I mean, there was no hesitation. So I knew, she was going to deal with it as well. Boings. Oh, go ahead, eat me. And boom, I looked at God and I said, okay, here is a woman who didn't even hesitate. She is on board with the Sabbath. She gets it. I'll ask her to marry me. Well, there's a little bit more to the story. See, apparently there was a coworker who asked another coworker, well, why are they not working Sabbath? Why are they doing the paperwork for Kay not to work Sabbath? And the coworker said, well, they're looking at getting married and they keep the Sabbath. And this coworker goes, oh, no, they don't. We got married about 4 weeks later. Why is it important? Is it important just because there's a day off? No. It's important because I don't even want to go into the Ten Commandments. In the Ten Commandments, God says, remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. Okay, remember what I said. If God says to Moses, do X, do X. We're going to set that aside. I want to read to you from the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 56. Thus says Yahweh, guard right ruling and do righteousness, for near is my deliverance to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man who does this, and the Son of Man who becomes strong in it, guarding the Sabbath, lest he profane it, and guarding his hand from doing any evil. And let not the son of the foreigner, who has joined himself to Yah, speak, saying, Yah has certainly separated me from his people. Nor let the eunuch say, look, I am a dry tree. For thus said Yah, to the eunuchs who guard my Sabbaths, and have chosen what pleases me, and are holding on to my covenant, to them I shall give my house, and within my walls a place and a name better than that of the sons and daughters. I give them an everlasting name that is not cut off. Also the sons of the foreigner, who join themselves to Yah to serve him, and to love the name of Yah, to be his servants, all who guard the Sabbath and not profane it, and are holding on to my covenant, them I shall bring to my set-apart mountain, and let them rejoice in my house of prayer. Their ascending offerings and their slaughterings are accepted on my slaughter place. For my house is called a house of prayer for all peoples. The Master, Yah, who gathers the outcast of Israel, declares, I gather still others to him besides those who are gathered to him. Think about it. Not just in the Ten Commandments, but further on in Isaiah, he is saying how important the Sabbath is and what he will do to the non-Israelites who come to him. You know, it's funny because as you read the New Testament, the Gentiles, the non-Israelites were looked down upon. And yet here in the book of Isaiah, if they will come and keep the covenant with Yahweh, they are to be lifted up. That's something special. That is something so far above what anyone would have a right to expect. Now, remember when I was asked about the power of positivity and being positive, especially in the aftermath of a divorce, of a cataclysmic event emotionally in your life. That's what I hold on to. The promises of a God who says, if you are faithful to me, I will hold on to you. I will take care of you. We talk about prepping all the time. You know, this is a prepping channel. We talk about laying aside your food. And I throw the whole, go to the ant thou sluggard and be wise, consider her ways and be wise. How she puts away food for the winter while the grasshopper just goes out and parties and eats and then dies off in winter. We talk about things like that. We talk about the Augustin Farms food that we've been testing and setting aside and choosing which ones we like. We talk about cultivating relationships with other people in our communities and figuring out, hey, I can trade my tomatoes for your eggs. We can do this, we can do that. And that's well and good. But where do you turn for emotional support? There will come a time when, if it happens, whatever it is, that what electricity I have from the grid up on the mountain may disappear. The internet may disappear. A few weeks ago, we just barely missed another Carrington event with a coronal mass ejection. I won't be able to call Gerard and get some emotional support. I won't be able to reach out. And thank God he's given me a partner, a best friend, a helpmeet, a wife who is as dedicated to not only prepping, but to living a life dedicated to him for me to lean on. But he's also given me the book, his words, his messages to me, and a way to develop a relationship with him. That book is a love letter. Hi. Hello, Ruckus. My pretty Ruckus. That book has warnings, has threats, has curses. It has what will happen if I don't follow him. It has prophecies about how the end is going to be. Is that how exactly it's going to be? Yes. To me, that's what I believe. I don't know when. I don't know how. I don't know. It talks about a comet called Wormwood attacking, hitting the earth and breaking up. It talks about earthquakes felt all around the world. It talks about rivers turning to blood. It's happened before, if I believe the book. The plagues of Egypt. And what happens in that moment, if it is the true apocalypse into the world? That's what I have to rely on. That's what I have to rely on. That's what Miss K has to rely on. And our faith in him. I encourage you, if you do go to church, if you do consider yourself a Christian or a Jew or a Torah keeper, dig into the book. Start studying hard. And if you're not, give it a try. What do you have to lose? There is peace in those words. There is comfort when you're hurting. You've got nothing to lose. Thanks for being with me today. I appreciate all of you. And just some food for thought. I'll talk to you soon.